not. Life isn't about integrity anymore. We don't care if people have integrity. Oh, we point out every time they make a boo-boo, and we act like we want credible people in office. But when it boils down, the only credibility we want as a society is everybody to be held at a higher standard, but not ourselves. See, I got that wrong. And I'm not afraid to admit it. It used to be my standards had to be higher than yours. I had to hold myself to higher standards. Especially if I'm going to criticize other people. Put my 2 cents in, my opinion. You need to have some sort of credibility to do that. Or I thought you did. That's what I was taught by my grandparents. If you're going to say something, come from a position of being credible. If you're going to do something, put your whole heart into it. Don't lie. Don't make up stuff. I mean, maybe that's too 10 commandments for some people. Maybe that's why people put down the Christian religion so much. Maybe they don't like the 10 commandments. They're not bad laws, man. I mean, if we had those 10 laws for the most part, you can argue, I guess, people will, if the atheists may have some problems with some of those commandments. But don't steal, don't kill, don't lie about your neighbor or your friend or somebody else. Don't talk crap behind their back. Don't bear false witness. There's a few others out there. We've just thrown all that out. The heck with being credible. And I'm not even a Bible thumper. But man, like really, none of us are credible anymore. And I don't know why I ever tried to be credible. And I can't change who I am, right? This is who I am. I try to be credible. It doesn't matter if you're credible. It doesn't matter. Because if they can't poke holes in your research and your data, they'll just make up stuff about you. It's the Me Too movement all over the internet. It just made it to the big time now. They came up with a hashtag finally and selected certain things to be the poster child for the Me Too movement. It's just wonderful. I was somber at the beginning, and as we've gone through the show, my sarcasm and my humor is starting to peek out. Because to me, we're a doomed society. All the efforts I've made to enlighten people, to help people, to show people, most of those people that have tuned me in or have heard about, have listened, they're not going to change who they are. They're not going to help create a better place. They listen, they move on, they forget about you. It's like the YouTube guys. Some of the greatest YouTube guys, nobody even talks about anymore. They're just gone because they've passed away. And they just don't care anymore. People's attention spans, you just forget. Charlie McGrath, one of the founding fathers of the YouTube alternative movement. Nobody talks about Charlie anymore and all the hard work he did. No, they're going to take credit themselves. You get so many of these. William Cooper, who has probably the most credibility of any radio conspiracy guy on the face of the planet that has ever existed, in my humble opinion. Why? Yes, he got things wrong. Yes, he might have been misled. But he told you from the very beginning, Don't believe him. Research everything. Don't believe your mother. Don't believe anything without researching it yourself and coming up with your own conclusions. And research doesn't mean, he didn't say this, but I'm saying this, Googling it and grabbing the Snopes link. But he had credibility because he said, hey, I might make mistakes. And I've told you that from the beginning myself because I believe in that. I've told you, don't believe me. Check my stuff out. Show me information. If I got it wrong, I'll tell everybody I got it wrong and I'll correct it. But that's why I rail on the mainstream media all the time. They have no credibility. And when I have a fraction of their audience, maybe less than a fraction, and they make up so many things, they direct people in so many ways, and because they only give you 2 minutes of this and 2 minutes of that and 5 minutes of this, you don't know the whole story. You can't fit the whole story in those kind of time periods. But that's all they've got because they got to move on to the next story because they got to keep you tuned in. So when I use my voice to say, hey, why aren't they talking about this? Or why don't you add this to the equation, ladies and gentlemen, when you're on your opinions? And then I get attacked and I'm told that's my opinion when I have fact on it. And if they bothered to listen for 5 minutes of my show, maybe an hour would be nice. But hey, I can't even get them to tune in. That's funny. A lot of those people I'm talking about are people who claim to be my friends or family. I've got a lot of people that I've become friends with because I've done the show. And I love those people. But these other people over here who claim to be friends and, their family, for whatever reason they call themselves family, they attack me, yet they haven't spent any time checking out the research. They got their news from the 2-minute broadcast. Oh, so-and-so did this and that and the other thing. Again, we had a shooter in Florida happen all over national news. It's causing a gun control debate, right? We have a shooting up in Mount Pleasant right here at a school. Nothing. No national debate on that one. Of course, the shooters were from different backgrounds, and maybe the shooter that was up in Mount Pleasant, well, maybe his background, was not as fair of a life as the other guy, maybe, or whatever. So that's one reason why I harp on the mainstream media, because they don't have credibility, and my grandparents taught me to be a credible person. And the radio host that I most admire, William Cooper, was the most credible radio host that I can find. He told you, hey, I don't get everything right. And that's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. See, you get these other talk show hosts out there, these people on mainstream like Anderson Blooper, who never tell you, don't believe us. This is what we're reporting. Don't believe us. You better check it out yourself, though. No, they tell you, this is it, this is it, this is it. And you better believe it. And most of you do. Because they have enough money and budget that they're on big TV to where they can be broadcast to a whole bunch of you, because you don't want to seek out other sources of information to make sure that's not something they're fabricating or misleading you or redirecting you. They bury all the good stuff deep in the story because they know it's no big deal. You're not going to read down there. So they can act like they're credible when they're not. But me, who exposes what they do, I'm credible with my listening audience, but The people who don't want to give me a shot, hey, you know what? There you go, John. Big fan figures right here. Big double figure right there for you, buddy. And when you're, and like I said earlier, I put that kind of effort in everything. What the effort I put into my show, and I'm to a point where I'm like, nobody appreciates how freaking hard I work at this stuff. Nobody does. They don't even have a clue of the checking and double checking I do to make sure I'm not telling you some stupid internet rumor that is wrong. If I tell you it's a rumor, I'm going to say, well, this is a rumor. Okay? And if I tell you that it's my opinion, I'm going to say, in my opinion. But if I'm presenting stuff as fact, it's because I've checked every source I could find. And you notice I said source. I'm not going to use this blog over here as the source. A blog is not a source. If there might be a source inside a blog that I can use, like the WikiLeaks files about the Clinton Foundation in Haiti and what they were apparently not doing with all that money. I give you the source of the email. No credibility. Sure, there are other people that do it. See, I'm not telling you I'm the lone voice in all this. There are a lot of good truthers out there trying to put out good information. But then there's a lot of people out there, because this non-mainstream format of radio, whether it be podcast, internet radio, whatever, streaming, the non-terrestrial traditional format, we are oversaturated with so-called personalities. Most of them lack personality. That's okay. They have every right to stream a show and do that. But we're never, here on the internet, never, ever, ever going to gain the respect or the popularity, at least not in my lifetime. I'm nearing 50, so chances are by the time this thing really hits big, I'm going to be out of here. I'll be long gone from this world. In many ways, I think more people would probably enjoy that than not. Anyways, I got to take a quick break, folks. Be right back. Where do you think you're going?
The John LeBang Show will be right back.
So grab a beer and a smoke and sit your butt back down. Stay right here. Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning for a beautiful sparkling shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass.
If you want to contact the John LeBang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John LeBang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John LeBang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
Some of the stations really do a great job of promoting me, and I'm very thankful to them. John Sweeney at 102.7, Jonathan Rios at 920 WON The Apple, Bob Minter over there. Code Zero Radio. I mean, he's freaking great. The guy's always promoting me, coming to shows that are not even on his station. Savvy Schmidt over there at Radio Love. She's just gotten behind the show, and she's been wonderful. Everybody over at Bubba Army Radio. I mean, we've had a few, even a few guests have really done a great job. Derek Shelmerdine, I can't even thank the man enough for how much time he has dedicated to the show. And he's just got a better social media presence than I do when he's doing the show. And I thank him for it. He probably thinks I'm a slacker comparatively. And some days I do feel like a slacker, even though I live this show. Because I'm doing 3 hours, I live this show every day of my life. I'm either researching, writing bits, whatever the case may be, maybe even